What's up? One more video before I go to bed. This is your King and I Vincent Valentine EX Turk, my Archies of Chaos, and we're gonna be getting into more Final Fantasy VII lore and stuff like that. More beautiful Final Fantasy VII lore. So we're gonna be talking about. This will actually be a discussion. We're gonna be talking about Aeris's past. You know. From Final Fantasy VII, we're gonna be talking about Aeris's past. So let's get started, okay? Aeris started out as one of the ancients, as one of the pretty much rare race of the ancients. You know, her mother being Alphania, Professor Gas's wife. You know, pretty much she died after giving birth to Aries, and then had to give the infant. Not after. No, she had to give the infant to. She actually had to give the infant to Elmira, just a regular person in the slums, you know. But Aries was supposed to be one of the perfect ancients, and that's why since technically she's the last now, since Alphania Gainsborough is, well, it's not Gainsborough, but Alphania has died. You know, she has died, gave the infant to Elmira to raise. She is known as the last ancient. She is known as the last ancient, the last of her kind. Because right now, everyone thinks Sephiroth is dead. Everybody thinks Sephiroth is dead at this point because this is after Crisis Core, you know. So this is way after Cloud has beaten, you know. This is way after Cloud has defeated Sephiroth. So, pretty much what happens in this scenario is that she's supposedly the last. So President Shinra knew about this, so he sent Song of the Turks to look after and watch and pretty much control Aeris, to make sure Aeris never leaves Midgar over anything. You know, which is really kind of a crazy story as it is, because secretly, Song does fall in love with Aris Gainsborough. In fact, Song saves Zack Fair's, tried to go save Zack Fair's life. Pretty much, the director of the Turks, Song went to go try to save Zack's life. You know, and lose his rank and his job and probably get court-martialed and arrested just to please a girl he barely knew because he just only spied on Aeris. But that says enough about Sung's character, that he's willing to disobey major orders for Aeris. So we're going to be time skipping this. Now, Elmira's husband has died. And Aeris, age 7, told Elmira not to cry because Aeris, you know, gets taught beforehand that people go into the live stream, you know. So, you know, and it does get sad and tragic, but Elmira treats Aeris as if if Aeris was her own child, you know. And she knew, Elmira knew that the day would come that Aeris would be taken away by the Turks. Remember I said in my Vincent Valentine video when I talked about the Turks organization, even people who don't know about what the Turks are doing or what they're about, the Turks are a bad organization technically because they follow the orders of Shinra, and Shinra's an evil company. They don't care about morality. So there was gonna be one day that there's gonna be one day that the Turks that the Turks are gonna take Aeris away. That's just gonna happen. That's just real life right there. You know, that is just gonna end up happening because, you know, she's last. Of course, you know, afterwards, you know, Elmira tells the story of Aeris from her birth to her childhood to the Turks to some of the events of Crisis Core that Elmira remembers. You know, and then there's also more story about Aries if you played Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, the PSP game, which Aries has dated a first-class soldier. She was actually going out with Zack at the time of Crisis Core. Of course, she doesn't know that Shinra killed Zack off, but she, I don't know if she finds out later or not, which you could tell me if she does in the comments, because I don't remember that much, even though Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game. I don't remember if she finds out or not, but she thinks that Zack was messing with another woman. So, with all of that, with all of that stuff going on, pretty much she wrote letters to Zack. And when she wrote letters to Zack, Zack was to write letters back, but the last letter never got delivered because Zack got killed. And, due to Zack being killed, caused Cloud to join Avalanche and pretty much to spawn the events of the original Final Fantasy VII as the way they are, But how long was Sung watching Aries? I think ever since, even before Sung was director of the Turks, Sung was watching Aries when Aries became 4 or 5 years of age, finding out that she was an ancient, because Aries would probably be going to regular public school, and she probably had abilities that weren't normal, and then Shinra probably found out due to the news, and like, wait a minute, a girl in the slums has this power? Could she be the last one to bring us to the Promised Land? And Shinra's looking for the Promised Land as much as Sephiroth is. So I think I think Sung was actually watching Aries ever since Aries was 4 or 5 years old. I couldn't say before because they were hidden. Armara and Aries was hidden very well because they lived in the slums. They lived in the worst parts of Midgar, of course, even though it don't look like it, because Aries planted a whole bunch of flowers, and it looks nice. Their area looks nicer than other areas. They still lived in the slums, outskirts slums, but the slums nonetheless. They lived in the slums. So Aries was kept hidden very well. I think it was when Aries probably went to public school, or went out in the public, her abilities were apparent enough for Shinra to find out, and that's when Sung started watching Aries. And then Crisis Core, when Zack flirts with Aries and Sung finds out, Sung's like, you better forget about her. Pretty much saying that he's interested too, which, Sung's a pretty weird character, but that's not the point. The point is, what explains the true past of Aries is what you see in Final Fantasy VII from childhood to the events of Crisis Core, and then everything with Cloud and Aries' first meet up with Aries during after the attack of the first it was actually the second. It was either first or second reactor. During the attack, after the attack of reactor, where Cloud and Aries meets up. So pretty much everything would be pretty much history, and all the events of the Final Fantasy VII would happen the way they did. And then all the way up to when Aries' white materia that she kept all her life that was a threat to Sephiroth's plan, that was a threat to Sephiroth's plan, got Aries killed and had the iconic moment of Aries' death and a game of who killed Aries. But that's pretty much the best way I can explain Aries' complete past. So tell me what you also think about Aries' past. If you got more details, leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and also support the cosplayers I put on the thumbnail. And may the crystal be with you. The soul you adore, can I feel